right, pretty shocking allegations against Alec Baldwin in the 2021 fatal Rust shooting. Special prosecutors in New Mexico claim Baldwin lost control of his emotions, had no control on set, frequently screaming and cursing, and that behavior contributed to safety compromises that ultimately led to the fatal shooting of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. They also allege Baldwin changed his story in the aftermath of the shooting. Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to involuntary manslaughter. With more, we are joined by criminal defense attorney Alexandra Kazarian. Good to have you. First of all, what do you make of these allegations laid out in this new court filing? Do you think that they're shocking?
No, I don't think they're shocking because I see the prosecution's style. I see where they're going with it. We all know, anybody that knows who Alec Baldwin is knows that he has a reputation for having a very heavy, hot-headed temper, and it makes sense that the prosecution would say that he was responsible as a producer, and that temper and that temperament on set is what led to Halyna Gutierrez not being able to create a safe environment. And from the very beginning, when you saw that he was being targeted by the prosecution, you could see that he was going to be the heavy in their eyes, and that even though she was the one who was charged with being, she had the role of making the set safe, their argument, their theory is that he didn't allow that to happen because he was screaming, because he was yelling, because he was intimidating her, and the fact that he chose to hire her when she didn't have enough experience to stand up to somebody like him. Those were all his choices and his behaviors that led to the accident on the set. It's easy to see how they are making that their theory of prosecution.
Okay, so you don't think that these new allegations are shocking, it's sort of expected. Do you think that they're damning for Baldwin? And if so, how much?
Well, when you look at how the jury reacted to the charges against Hannah, the armorist, it does look like they thought she had some culpability, but that she wasn't the one that was ultimately really responsible for everything. So if you analyze the way the jury analyzed the evidence in that case, it does seem like they bought the theory that she was influenced by somebody else and that her inexperience led to bad decisions on her part. So if the prosecution is successful in getting this jury to adopt that theory of prosecution here, it could be a problem for Baldwin.
Yeah, and you joined us prior to the verdict coming down for Halyna Gutierrez Reed, in which she was found guilty for involuntary manslaughter. She will be sentenced, I believe, next week on April 15th. In fact, she faces up to 18 months in prison. You also said, though, that if she was in fact found guilty, which she was, that this could very well bode well for Baldwin, in that it takes the heat off of him, and hey, you already have your person.
Right. You already have two people who have guilty convictions. One has a no contest plea and one who has a guilty conviction, because they are the people that were responsible. He's going to be able to argue that she did take the job, she knew what the job consisted of, and that it was exactly her role to keep the set safe. She was the one that if she thought there was somebody on set that was making it an unsafe environment, she should have stepped up, stopped production, and said, no, I'm not giving you these weapons, I'm taking them away, and she should have controlled it. He was an actor on the set in that role, in that moment, and she was the one who should have shut it down, and she didn't try to do that. So it's not like she said, hold on, I'm stopping this, give me that back. She didn't do that. But the prosecution's going to argue that she couldn't because she was intimidated. But ultimately, the defense is going to say no. It was her job to do, not his.
What do you expect to happen on Monday when she's sentenced, all 18 months?
No, I would hope that the judge would see that she is young, she's inexperienced, she was put in a very delicate role. That they have to, there are mitigating factors and there are aggravating factors, and there are a ton of mitigating factors when it comes to what her role was in this case. So I think the mitigating factors are going to outweigh any, there are no aggravating factors. So I think justice would be served if she gets even a probationary offer, I think.
Okay, well, we will see, and we will always lean on you as his trial happens, I believe, also in July, sometime this summer. Alexandra Kazarian, thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right.